From the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel, this is a severe weather alert.
All right, it's currently 7:13 in the evening. I'm Fred Gossett here at the Tennessee Valley Weather Center, watching a very small but suspicious storm on the south side of the Huntsville Metro at this time. There's not a severe thunderstorm warning, not a tornado warning, but this thing has shown signs of rotation. It's just crossed the South Parkway near the Lily Flag area where we have a very broad and weak rotation. And it seems to be moving off to the northeast at about 25 miles an hour. So we'll do a storm track with time of arrival here. And the rotation we're watching, and I want to stress it's broad and weak, but we have seen some evidence in the UAH radar that there may have been a very small circulation, possibly in contact with the ground over the past few minutes. Time of arrival for Hampton Cove is 7:21. Montesano, if it takes a little bit of a left turn, around 7:28. Gurley at 7:38, and Maysville at 7:39. Again, there's no warning on this officially from the National Weather Service, mainly because on the next rad data that's scanning a touch higher, it's not nearly as organized as what the UAH radar looks like, but the UAH radar, the Armor radar that we're able to watch behind the scenes, has had a tighter low-level circulation on this with times, and there have been some hints that there could have possibly been a debris signature with this. So I don't want to rule out completely that there could have been a very weak, low-end small tornado here. So we wanted to jump on for at least a few minutes, talk about the rotating thunderstorm moving through Madison County, Alabama. Give the general advice that even though there's not a warning here, it may be a good idea to be inside away from windows for the next several minutes as this broad and weak rotation passes through the area. But as of right now, not seeing anything super tight. On the next rad data, it's mainly the UAH Armor radar data we're watching very carefully. This is going to be coming across the Hampton Cove area over the next few minutes. And moving off to the northeast at about 25 miles an hour. Again, not completely sure that we have a tornado here, and there's not a warning. However, be inside away from windows until this passes. As it tracks off to the northeast at about 25 miles an hour, this is going to be coming across the Hampton Cove area over the next several minutes up toward the McMullen Cove area and toward Gurley here over the next 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes. Again, not currently a tornado warning on it, not a severe thunderstorm warning on it, but it may not be a bad idea to go ahead and get inside away from windows. Do another track on this. Hampton Cove around 7:18, so that's a couple minutes away. The small rotation will be passing over. Gurley at 7:33 and Maysville at 7:34. The rotation on next rad has tightened up a little bit and improved. And still we are seeing low-level data from the UAH Armor radar. It supports that there may be something here. Now, we're not thinking it's a big tornado or a destructive tornado, but there could be a very small, very weak tornado that has at least been intermittently in touch with the ground. And now we're going to have a tornado warning for eastern and central Madison County. Let's see. That's going to run until 7:45. So we're going to have a new tornado warning for portions of Madison County, Alabama. This is going to include the southeast side of the Huntsville Metro. You see the polygon popping up here for the rotation. It's come across the Lily Flag area and coming up on Hampton Cove and McMullen Cove and near the Gurley area. Now, I want to stress for the rest of you, let's do a reset since we've been on here for a few minutes. There are no severe storms in any other part of the viewing area. Back from I-65 west in North Alabama and up through southern middle Tennessee, nothing is severe, but we've had this small, heavy shower show some signs of rotation on the south side of Huntsville and it's interacting with some terrain, and there may have been a small tornado down near the Triana area in the Redstone Arsenal and possibly near the Lily Flag area. It has continued to show signs of possibly having a small lower end tornado with it as it approaches the Hampton Cove area. So again, what you need to be doing now is go through your tornado safety plan. That's a small interior room, such as a bathroom, a hallway, or closet, near the center of the building on the lowest floor, away from windows. Get out of vehicles, get out of mobile homes. I know a lot of this is site-built homes here in this area, so there aren't as many mobile homes as there are in other parts of North Alabama. But if there are out in the rural portions here within this tornado warning polygon, get out of vehicles, get out of mobile homes, head to sturdy structure. You also want to protect your head and neck from flying debris. The tornado warning polygon goes as far north as areas like Ryland and Maysville, and just shy of Newmarket here, but the main threat we're watching is currently from the Hampton Cove area up toward Gurley and the McMullen Cove area. If there's going to still be a small tornado with this, I think that's the area that we are going to have to watch very carefully. Let's see, let's go to storm relative velocity, and the rotation is tighter here on the next rad itself, near the Doubletree area, near Bailey Cove Estates, moving up toward Hampton Cove over the next few minutes. I'll get some roads in here. We have Ledges Drive near the Ridgewood area. That's your circulation that we have that may still be producing a tornado down. Old Big Cove Road, 4 Mile Post Road is in the path of this over the next couple minutes. Miller's Lane over toward Featherstone Lane and crossing, that's 431 here, very close to Hampton Cove, or just to the north of there by a mile or less. So anywhere around Hampton Cove over to McMullen Cove and then over toward Gurley, you need to be going through your tornado safety plan now. Again, a tornado warning is in effect for central and eastern portions of Madison County, Alabama. This goes until 7:45. The polygon technically goes back to downtown Huntsville, but I can tell you based on where the storm is and the direction that it's moving, downtown Huntsville, you're going to be okay from the storm. It's mainly coming up on the Hampton Cove area now, and then tracking up toward the McMullen Cove area and the Gurley Cove area over the next 15 to 20 minutes. Tornado warning is in effect until 7:45 here. It's going to be crossing, again, US 431, very close to Hampton Cove, and then crossing US 72 about halfway between the Ryland area and Gurley here within the next 15 to 20 minutes. We do still have signs of the circulation there. Look here on correlation coefficient. This is how we would be looking for a debris signature. And again, I don't have this from the UAH Armor radar that I can show you on air. But we have seen behind the scenes where we've had a really tight low-level circulation with this. And then evidence we could have at least intermittently possibly had a small low-end tornado down back near the Lily Flag area, back near the Redstone Arsenal, and possibly near Triana. Not 100% certain of that, but we have seen radar evidence from the UAH radar. Again, this is not a severe weather favorable situation across our area this evening. We just have some heavy showers that have some very weak rotation over here in the northeast part of Alabama, and they're able to interact with this increasing terrain once you get up into the mountains of northeast Alabama, and sometimes that can stretch low-level circulations and cause a small tornado to form. We haven't had any damage reports so far coming in from spotters or ham radio. Looking at NWS chat, again, the warning was mainly issued over the good low-level rotation that was on a UAH Armor radar. And the overall structure on the next rad rate, the NWS Doppler radar continues to hold its own. A broad circulation here. It really hasn't changed in structure too much over the past several minutes. So from Hampton Cove over toward McMullen Cove and Gurley, continue to stay in your tornado shelters. until we can give you an all clear. We're not expecting something big and violent at the time. But there could certainly be a small, brief spin-up tornado with this as it continues to track into eastern areas of Madison County over the next several minutes. And again, in case you're just joining us here, Fred Gossett here in the Tennessee Valley Weather Center with live continuing severe weather coverage for what has turned out to be a surprise tornado warning situation on this Tuesday evening. We have not been expecting severe weather. Ingredients really haven't been too favorable for that because we had clouds and rain and not much instability this afternoon. But these little heavy showers have developed and interacted with boundaries from earlier storms and also interacting with higher terrain over here in northeast Alabama. And that's got one of them rotating. And we may have had, at least intermittently, a small weak tornado on the ground. And based on the UAH Armor Radar presentation over the past several minutes, that's why the National Weather Service has gone ahead and issued a tornado warning for eastern areas of Madison County until 7:45. They may cancel this early, depending on how the presentation on radar remains, but we do still see evidence of rotation roughly near the Hampton Cove, Alabama area. This on Highway 431. Southeast of downtown Huntsville. The greatest threat over the next several minutes will be from near Hampton Cove up to McMullen Cove and the Gurley areas. Talk about some of the streets here. We have the Eastern Bypass over here. We have Old Highway 431 near the Cherry Tree area. We have US 431. That's the thick line here that runs through Hampton Cove. Your circulation is going to be over the Hampton Cove area now. Again, we don't see anything especially tight and strong on the NEXRAD radar, but the UAH radar has shown signs of a tighter low-level rotation here over the past several minutes, and is, of course, of least regret, and I think it was the correct thing to do. National Weather Service did pull the trigger on a tornado warning for eastern areas of Madison County. That's going to be up until 7:45 until the storm weakens and we lose the rotation signature. If that happens before 7:45, the tornado warning may be able to be canceled early. There is a flash flood warning from near the Huntsville area back into Madison and then back into southeast County from near French Mill down through the Morrisville area into the Decatur Metro and back into southeastern portions of Lawrence County, Alabama. That's going to run until 9:15 from storms earlier with heavy rain that were training on themselves. And it's not going to take a lot of heavy rain here to have flash flooding issues because of all the rain we've had the past several days. But the reason why we're here live is for this tornado warning for Madison County, Alabama. Again, if you're in the Shoals, if you're in Russellville, Red Bay, Athens, Moulton, Decatur, up into southern middle Tennessee, Waynesboro, Lawrenceburg, Pulaski, Lewisburg, Savannah, Hohenwald, Columbia, you don't have any severe weather issues, and that's why we're not focusing on you. We're not ignoring you. We just don't have anything to talk about concerning your areas. The only severe storm we have is this one over in the eastern portions of Madison County, Alabama, that has prompted this tornado warning that's going to run until 7:45. The rotation is still broadly crossing the US 431 area near Hampton Cove. Don't want to be too extremely specific because anywhere within the broader circulation, there can be a small, brief spin-up tornado. And if we say one street is okay and one street's not, we could call out the wrong street. So that's why we're not trying to do that. We will call out some streets from time to time to give you general reference points and landmarks, but just because we call out certain streets doesn't mean that other ones we don't mention are okay and you don't need to be in shelter. Everyone over here in this east central part of Madison County needs to be going through the tornado safety plans until we can give you an all clear. Now, this does not look like a big tornado, but it doesn't have to be. All it takes is a small, brief E of 0, knocking a tree down on your home, and that's a life-threatening situation. So that's why we take every tornado warning seriously, including one like this, where it's a marginal situation. Conditions aren't favorable for tornadoes today, but sometimes when storms interact with terrain and previous boundaries from earlier storms and heavy rain, sometimes you can get a small spin up to happen. And we think that could have been happening in other parts of south central portions of Madison County. The general rotation overall is near Hampton Cove, but as far north as places like, I would say, the Hayden area, Doug Hill, up to the Moontown area. Just be in shelter until we can get the storm out of here, or until the circulation on the radar weakens. As of right now, the safe thing to do is to hold the tornado warning in place. I'm going to step and look at another monitor, see if I can see how the UAH radar looks at this moment. On the next red, we have a broad circulation. Again, not seeing any reports of damage at this time. Not seeing anything come across from storm spotters. The warning was mainly triggered because of a tight low-level circulation and the possibility that there may have been a weak debris signature from the UAH Armor dual-pole Doppler radar, which scans lower in the atmosphere in this part of the Huntsville Metro than what the next rads would do, and it would have a better look in the lower levels. So with this newer populated area, the right thing to do was to issue a tornado warning, and then once we know nothing's there, it can be canceled. Because at the worst, we're just going to waste a few minutes of your time this evening, but we don't want you to be caught unaware if there is something here, and that's why the tornado warning was issued by the National Weather Service. The next rad presentation here, the NWS Doppler radar has it between Hampton Cove and Hayden if there is something there, but I don't want to be too specific because within the broad circulation there can be a small spin up. I'm not guaranteeing there's a spin up there. I'm not saying for sure there's a tornado on the ground, but within that general area, that general spin up, generally speaking, it could be anywhere near Hampton Cove within a few miles. It looks like we may be having some changes in the storm circulation here. We have one hook echo on the east side of Hampton Cove. We have another correlated reflectivity back near Hayden. And the velocity pattern has a small broad circulation with either one. So there could be two weak circulations here, or this could be a case where this is trying to cycle. We are getting some reports of possibly a general lowering with this. As you would expect, if you have a rotating updraft, you're more than likely going to see a lowered cloud base. It may be a wall cloud with this. If you have a setup like this today where you have a lot of low-level moisture and then you have a rotating updraft, you're likely going to get a wall cloud. I'm not seeing still any reports of damage at this time with this circulation. But as a course of least regret, you just want to be in a safe place until it passes. From the Doug Hill area and Hayden, Hampton Cove, the Cherry Tree area, to McMullen Cove, to Moontown, to Gurley, and maybe as far north as the Brownsboro areas. These are the locations you need to be inside, away from windows, small interior room, lowest floors such as a bathroom, a hallway, or closet, near the center of the building, away from windows. Protect your head and neck from flying debris. We are seeing some hints here on the next rad that there could be two potential broad circulations, one very close to the Hayden area, and then another one east of Hampton Cove and just south of the McMullen Cove area. Both of these would be headed off to the northeast at about 25 miles an hour. The southern one would be closer to Gurley. The northern one, if that is what is happening, would be closer to Moontown and not too far away from where the tornadoes crossed Highway 72 in eastern portions of Madison County back last Tuesday, a week ago, with that severe weather. This is not anything of the intensity of that, but this northern circulation near Hayden could cross Highway 72 near Moontown, where that Montesano tornado tracked, or just southeast of there by a little bit, if it holds together, if there is a tornado there. And I'm not guaranteeing that there is, But we do have a couple of circulations on radar that we're watching here in the eastern part of Madison County. And again, there's a tornado warning here for the next 13 minutes, unless it's canceled early. National Weather Service has noted that the circulations seem to have broadened a little bit based on the data that they have. Step back here and see if I can get another snapshot. But the circulation is on the eastern side of Hampton Cove and farther north. Let's see. Again, if you're in this eastern part of Madison County, Alabama, be in shelter away from windows until the storm passes. Having to walk back and forth here between multiple computers. Again, this wasn't a day where we expected severe storms. But anytime you have small thunderstorms interacting with boundaries from previous activity and storms interacting with terrain, you can't completely rule out a small stray circulation. And I think that's what we've had here in southern and eastern areas of Madison County. One is near or just south of McMullen Cove, between the Berkeley and the McMullen Cove area. One is just to the east of Hayden near the Doug Hill area. You have Doug Hill Road that runs northward up toward Highway 72 and then westward back toward the Ryland Acres area. You have Hayden here that's along 431. You have the McMullen Cove area out here. It's on Little Cove Road. And then Highway 72 just to the northeast. That's your northern circulation. And then the southern circulation, they're both broad and they're both weak, but I can't completely guarantee that there's not something there. It's near the Adair Ford community, just south of McMullen Cove, near the Miller Road area. It is going to be crossing Highway 72, very close to Gurley if it continues to hold together. But I will say both of these circulations, at least from the next radar, very weak looking. And I think if there's going to become one that's going to become dominant, it would be the southern one here just south of McMullen Cove. That's headed toward the Gurley area. It looks like the northern one may be starting to get cut off, but I don't want to ignore that. Now for Huntsville proper, this is off to your east and it's moving away. So for Huntsville, UAH, Redstone Arsenal, Alabama A&M, back toward the Madison area, this does not affect you and you don't have to seek shelter from this. This is the far eastern portion of Madison County. And for those of you in other portions of North Alabama or for southern Middle Tennessee, this is not affecting you, and there are no other severe storms across the area. That's why we're not talking about you. We're not ignoring you, but I can show you here on the regional radar network across the viewing area, nothing else is severe. You had the flash flood warning there in the Huntsville and Decatur metro areas just south of Athens, but you see no other red polygons, no other yellow polygons anywhere except that tornado warning there in eastern portions of Madison County. There's heavy rain, very occasional thunder that stretches from Limestone and Morgan counties in Alabama up through Madison County, Alabama into Lincoln County, Tennessee. None of that activity is severe. And then back to the west toward the heart of our viewing area in southern Middle Tennessee and northwest Alabama, there's very little of anything at all going on whatsoever. The main reason why we're here is this little rotating storm in the eastern part of Madison County. Again, there's a tornado warning for another 11 minutes. I think National Weather Service may let this expire at 7:45 since there have been no damage reports, no official sightings of a tornado on the ground. So what they're going to do is they are planning, unless it tightens back up over the next few minutes, they are planning to replace this with a severe thunderstorm warning for far eastern areas of Madison County, and then over into Jackson County with a tag that says a tornado is possible, a tornado can't be ruled out, because even though there's still circulation there, they've broadened and they look like they've weakened a little bit, but as a course of least regret, you still want to pay attention to this. And even on the armor data here, they mention the UAH radar, they mentioned that the circulations are not as tight as what they once were back closer to the Lily Flag area. So it looks like circulations have broadened. And at least for now, the threat may have lessened from having a small tornado here. So what they're going to do, they're going to issue a severe thunderstorm warning in place of this, and just mention to be alert in case the rotation tries to tighten up. So what they're going to do, they're going to replace the tornado warning with a severe thunderstorm warning. But still, especially here with the southern circulation from McMullen Cove over toward Gurley, not a bad idea still until this passes to be inside away from windows on the lowest floor. If there has been something here, and we're not completely sure there has been on the ground, but if there has been something here, it would be very weak and very brief. This has never looked like a big tornado down, but occasionally there's been a suspicious signature on the UAH armor radar, and that's why they pulled the trigger on the tornado warning. Again, 7:38 now. Fred Gossage here in the Tennessee Valley Weather Center, watching two broad, weak rotations in eastern portions of Madison County, Alabama. We've technically have a tornado warning up until 7:45, but they will be replacing this with a severe thunderstorm warning, and then watch it behind the scenes to see if it tries to tighten back up. For now, it looks like everything has weakened and has broadened, but still, from Doug Hill, Moontown, Brownsboro, through McMullen Cove to the Gurley area, not a bad idea to stay away from windows, small interior room, lowest floor, until we get this little storm cell out of here, and then we should be fine. Again, no confirmation of damage with this. No absolute confirmation that there has been a tornado down. I cannot rule out the idea that there may have been a very small, very brief tornado at times back near the Lily Flag area or the Redstone Arsenal area, because the UAH radar shows some suspicious things that look like there may have been a very small tornado at times, lofting a weak debris signature. So I can't rule it out. However, no confirmation that there has been a tornado down. Here comes the severe thunderstorm warning that's going to be in effect for eastern portions of Madison County and then into Jackson County. That's going to run until 8:30. It's not going to stay in Madison County all the way to 8:30. It's getting over there toward the far eastern portions of Madison County now. Once it crosses out of Madison County over into Jackson County, then the Weather Service will remove Madison County from the warning. But this severe thunderstorm warning that's being issued is going to replace the tornado warning that has been in effect. Tornado warning has been officially set to expire at 7:45, but they are going to be taking it off the board and going with this severe thunderstorm warning set. Again, there is a broad, weak rotation here. It's not a bad idea to go through your safety plan for a few more minutes until we get the storm on past you, but especially here at McMullen Cove over toward Gurley, that's where I would watch very carefully to see if we try to see a circulation tighten up. The northern circulation that was up near the Doug Hill area looks like it has been cut off and has weakened substantially. We do see some remnants of a circulation with the southern storm that's closer to McMullen Cove in Gurley. That's about to be crossing Highway 72 over the next few minutes. So that's why we're going to stay here live until the tornado warning is officially off the board at 7:45, and then we'll watch things very carefully until we get the storm out of the county. But especially near the Gurley area, even once the tornado warning expires at 7:45, still be inside away from windows until this passes, because even if there's not a tornado there, and there very well may not, there could still be some gusty straight line winds that knock down trees. And that's all it takes to be a danger, is a tree being knocked down. And with the ground saturated as it is, it doesn't even take severe level straight line wind to do that. That can be done by gusts of 40 to 45 miles an hour, because the ground is saturated and soft and pliable, and the root systems are weakened because of that. If you see a good 40 mile per hour wind gust come with the circulation, that could put a tree on your home. So until we get the storm on past you, stay away from windows. This will be crossing out of Madison County over into Jackson County and out of our viewing area probably, I would say, within the next 10 minutes or so. The circulation, the broad circulation we have, is about to start crossing Highway 72 very close to Gurley. Now, again, they are going to take the tornado warning off the board at 7:45, and the severe thunderstorm warning will remain in effect. Because it goes over into Jackson County, it will technically be set to expire at 8:30, but they will remove Madison County once the storm has moved on out. So I would say for about the next 10, maybe 15 minutes in this far eastern part of Madison County, stay inside away from windows. We are losing evidence in the potential tornado that may have possibly been there. And then there are no other severe storms at the moment across the area. There are some patchy storms with heavy rain and maybe some 30 to 40 mile per hour winds, especially with this little line up here to the north of Fayetteville and Lincoln County. There could be some gusty 30, 40 mile per hour winds from Fayetteville up to the Belleville area, and then moving across Mulberry and Boonville over the next 15 to 20 minutes. I see no tight signs of rotation here. There's a shear axis, but I don't see anything that looks like a tornado or a tornadic circulation at this time. And none of the other little heavy rain cells look like they're trying to produce a tornado either. There's some very super weak velocity signatures, but they're weaker than what this thing over Gurley looks like. And the circulation over Gurley doesn't look supportive of a tornado. So this is the only situation that we have. We're less than a minute out before the tornado warning officially expires. The very broad and weak circulation is going over the Gurley area now. And then we'll be moving over into Jackson County. Again, there's still a severe thunderstorm warning in effect, but the tornado warning is about to expire here at the top of the minute. Got about 20 more seconds or so, and then the tornado warning is going to be off the board. And honestly, with the circulation broadening out and weakening, I think the threat for a small spin up has lessened, and it may take several minutes for this to tighten back up if it's even going to try to, and it may be across the line into Jackson County if that were to happen again. So for about the next 5 minutes here, near Gurley, over to the county line, stay inside away from windows, be in the lowest floor of your home if it's possible, but I don't think we have a tornado down at the moment. Circulation is weakened, and as of now, the tornado warning is in the process of expiring and being taken off the board, and a severe thunderstorm warning will remain in effect. So here, as we're speaking, the tornado warning for eastern Madison County has expired. The rotation has broadened, has weakened substantially. Severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect technically until 8:30 for eastern portions of Madison County, Alabama. And then in the Jackson County, Alabama, I can tell you it will be out of Madison County within the next 10 minutes or so, and then moving on away. We'll continue to watch it behind the scenes very carefully. Should something happen before it moves out of the county and out of the viewing area, we'll be back with updates as necessary. Otherwise, severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect. Tornado warning has now expired. Fred Gossett here in the Tennessee Valley Weather Center. Stay with Tennessee Valley Weather. We'll keep you advised.
You're watching the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel.